Spirit had talked about this being a catalyst for transformation, that new creation comes from this because we begin to have access to deep emotions and energy due to this process of having to stretch ourselves. And so Padma writes in the Christ Blueprint, the ways that this stretching or additional tension are occurring in the external world has become obvious on a planetary scale. Ecological crisis, wars, terrorism, mass extinction of species, loss of nature, pollution, mass media control over public thought and opinion, and personal upheavals and transformations are all designed to wake us up to what is happening and to do something about it in our own way. And that's the most important thing. We're waking up to do something about it in our own way, not the way everybody else is doing it, but what is coming authentically through our own soul. Padma writes, this is the training ground that Yeshua Christ himself told us not to get lost in, as it is an in-between stage to heaven and the higher realms. In order to fully embody Christ, one has to meet and embrace the Antichrist and know it in its fullness. Yeshua did this in his 40 days in the desert, which is more of an analogy than anything else, but we will all have to do it in our own way and at some point in the unfolding of our soul. As we embrace the darkness of creation, the anti-life force that is also Christ. And so Spirit wants us to remember here that the creation of the Antichrist is from humanity, not from God, that God is actually love and is always the expression of infinite love, infinite awareness, and that we as a species have created this frequency and that which is anti-life, anti-love, anti-flow, and what Padma calls the rigidity of matter without the conscious awareness of light, the opposite of being in the present, organic, ever-unfolding moment. It is the deepest darkness that Christ Yeshua descended into after the crucifixion for 3 days, bringing the spark of Christ, divine love, into the places of despair, guilt, shame, and body-mind identification with matter alone that had never felt love before. And I think that is so powerful that when we remember that when we are in these pits of despair, which we will all go through when we are on this path, if we can remember in those pits that we are still a divine spark of light and that we can connect to any soul through any time and space that is in that place, and that when we leave through our little speck of light, when we transform out of that space, all of those souls come with us.